time once more for XRRL to come underway. It's going to be a smaller field again, so it looks like qualifying one's not going to mean a whole lot. It's going to be a little bit more relaxed qualifying one. I've been Saint Layer 13. I've been the one who's been thankfully allowed to cover this series since it started. We're in the 6th race of this 17-race season here. Point standings are very much beginning to take shape. We now know who is and isn't going to be the favorites to win the titles. We're also looking at Montreal, the first pure speed-focused circuit on the calendar. And real quickly looking at the drivers who are here right now. In the Mercedes team, it's XRRL Steele and XRRL Herbie. In the Red Bull team, it's Kinsey Retro and Jay Biscon. For the McLaren team, it's Beard Boost and XRRL Low. The Renault is being represented by Danny JJA02, and the AlphaTauri is being represented by Hazel. The Tracing Point is being represented by Zola and Yun Maneuver. Maneuver making a return after being absent for 2 weeks. Alfa Romeo is being represented by XRL Ollie, and Haas is being represented by Pinko and Waddington. There are anticipated to be 1 or 2 more drivers who might show up in the middle of Q1, but other than that, that looks like the entire field that we have today, a field of about 14 drivers. Real quickly, we're hoping we can get to 15 or 16. Don't know if that will happen, but that is the hopes for today. We're going to get underway relatively shortly here, but before we get too far into today's event, I want to go ahead and look at the point standings as they line up right now. So when it comes to the manufacturer championship right now, the Alfa Romeo continues to be at the bottom of the grid with 22 points, while 9th it has 36 points. It's the Mercedes team. 8th in points is 44. It's McLaren. They're only 1 point off of the Tracing Point BWT team with 45. 6th on the points board is 48 for the AlphaTauri team. 52 for Williams 5th, with just 1 point off of the Renault team, who is in 4th. The Aston Martin team has 61 points. The Haas F1 team has 63 points. And right now, Ferrari has been absolutely knocking it out of the park. Manufacturers' points, they have 89 at the moment. Then we go on down to the Drivers' Championship. When it comes to Drivers' Championship, Ollie and Ledger still have yet to earn points. Level 6 BCN has 3 points. XRRL Herbie has 11, and MCR Path has 13. The Yun Maneuver, who had really good place in the point standings after his first 2 races, has missed several races. He's back in the car now. He has 18 points today at 11th. Kinsey Retro is coming off of that really great 2nd place finish. Last week at Bahrain. He now has 22 points in 10th. 3 ahead of him is XRRL Steele and the Mercedes. Low is 8th in the points standings with 27 points. XRRL Ultimate has 38 points. He's 1 point away from the 2-way battle for 5th. That's between XRRL Wax and Pinko. They both have 39 points. Hazel has 47 points right now. Danny JJA02 has 53 points in the Renault. Ryan Hurricane has 61 points in the Ferrari. And XRRL Zola is currently leading the points championship by 2. He has 63 points today. Right now, everyone is in the process of readying up as we get underway here at Canada. Circuit Villeneuve, without a doubt, in my opinion, the greatest track that the entirety of North America has to offer when it comes to race quality. Anything can run here and anything can make this track look good. It's kind of amazing how when you throw out conventional FIA building standards and just go for a circuit that has a great focus on speed while also having a few, not excessive, but a few good challenging corners throughout, you end up with such a fascinating track. Circuit Villeneuve is a very unique situation because it also doubles as a park, and these are kind of like civilian roads in a sense, but not really. It falls into a really weird in-between, kind of like Albert Park does in Australia. This circuit, because of that, only gets to run a few events a year, and Formula One is one of those. Back between 2002 and 2006, CART, also later known as Camp Car, had the other weekend, and then from 2007 up until about 2012, it was the NASCAR Busch Series. For right now, it's only Formula One that runs here once a year. However, fingers are crossed that hopefully we'll see a return by IndyCar or NASCAR to this series. If not that, then IMSA or something else, because I'd love to see more racing series run at this circuit. I do honestly believe this is potentially the greatest racetrack in the world. Of all the tracks that currently exist. I may be a little bit biased, but I do think if you're looking for something a little bit more all over the place, I guess you could say Le Mans would be the greatest, or Nürburgring would be a little greatest. But when it comes to a track that anyone I think could tackle without, trying to blow their brains out, not literally metaphorically trying to figure out, this would be a perfect circuit for that. So stand by right now until our first drivers get out onto the racetrack. Currently we have 13 drivers here with us, and I imagine we'll see a few more attempt to join shortly afterwards. Interesting to note, right now there are only 2 representatives from the Ferrari-powered teams. That is A. Waddington Haas and XRRL Wax in the Alpha, and it looks like our first driver is on the way out right now. That is going to be XRL Herbie, representing Mercedes' team right now, as he is making a long exit from pit lane. You can see farther back, Waddington is exiting pit lane as he was regaining his lap. This first sector of the circuit, very flowy, very smooth. Then you come to a second section, which is great when it comes to focusing on the acceleration of a car. We've got 2 quick switchback corners throughout. And then coming to the end of sector 2, you see him slowing down just a little bit, doesn't want to burn the fuel load up too fast. Right now it's focused on warming up the tires. You get this wonderful hairpin, one of the more iconic corners in Formula 1 and the entirety of racing, in my opinion. I'm really, really biased for this circuit. I'm really glad to be here for broadcasting this. Then you open up onto this nice long back straightaway, and then you get to the end of it, a really, really fast chicane with the infamous wall of champions on the outside. If you make it stick, you're rewarded by another DRS zone and another respectably long straightaway. And then you go back into sector 1 because you've started a new lap. And you got this long, sweeping corner. I absolutely love it. And now we see Herbie has gained his first flying lap right now. He's already invalidated. That is one issue here around this circuit in real life and in this game. The FIA's real-life track limits are extremely, extremely strict and unforgiving around here. And because of that, it makes it very, very hard to have proper, clean laps around here. It really, really harms the racing quality, but it's not enough to damage the track in any way. It's just something that makes the circuit excessively difficult, in my opinion at least. I'm extremely, extremely biased on this, though. XRL Wax is in the middle of a flying lap right now as he has exited sector 1. He is running the wet tire compounds. Right now, we only look at 14 cars on track, so as I said earlier, this is basically a throwaway qualifying session. CJ, Mr. Retro, Low, and Pink are all on intermediate tires. Everyone's just burning through a set of wet tires, so that way they have more sets of good dry tires to run in the race itself. Strategy today, not very many people seem to be focused on the single stop strategy that was winning a lot of races early on in XRRL. Instead, a lot of the focus is on the potential of running a 2-stop where you go medium, medium, soft, or medium, soft, medium. Everyone seems to want to start on the mediums today, so that will make qualifying sessions really interesting once we get to that point. Pinkwell has gone to the top, 121.361. He's on the intermediates. Wax is going to be even slower than that because he's on full wets. You can see the rear of that car sliding out. There's no control whatsoever. He just got turned because he has no speed in that car. He's just gotten turned there. Well, that's not something you expect. Beard Boost goes to the top with a 111.290 in the McLaren now. And interestingly enough, Kinsey Retro has already retired from the session. He feels that there's no point in pushing farther. This is XRL Steel. He's in the middle of a lap right now. We see some movement in what appears to be the Renault pit. Yes, that is Danny JJ02 who is now on his way out of pit lane. Hazel is now making his way out as well, and Hazel seems to actually want to put a little bit of serious effort into this because he has these soft tire compounds on at the moment. Cars on the track right now. There might be one more who will show up before we get into Q2. Fingers crossed for that happening. Excuse me! One other thing, this circuit is very, very short in terms of time. Because there's so much focus on acceleration and straight line speed here, you click off the laps at a very, very quick rate around this circuit. Pinko has retired from the session. He feels no need to continue putting his car at risk, especially after what happened earlier to Wax. But yeah, you will run into a lot of lap traffic in a full race here. Tomorrow in the X1, X2, X3 races, you can be looking to a very, very chaotic qualifying session 1 and 2. But we're going to be quiet and run on board with Hazel for a lap here around Montreal so you can hear what it's like at this amazing circuit. And go figure, the time immediately gets invalidated. 1 second. It says audio settings. Just going to turn the gain volume down just a little bit. Hopefully that's a little bit better balancing for everyone. Zola goes to the top of the 110.902. We're going to go ahead and ride on board with Waddington for this lap. Hopefully he will be able to set a full flying lap. And the lap's already been invalidated, I think. Yep, the lap's already been invalidated. Wax is now officially retired from the session. And here comes Hazel. We'll try right on board with Hazel again for a flying lap. And that's your lap, currently your top lap by Hazel, who goes to the top of the 110.298 right now. In that AlphaTauri, Hazel has been on a little bit of a redemption run after the dominating and then being crashed out by the game and then other drivers at Azerbaijan. He came back and dominated most of the race at Bahrain, but had to go in a very, very intense fight at the very end against Ryan Hurricane, who has now joined the session, so we now have 15 drivers here by the looks of it. And Ryan Hurricane and Hazel had a little bit of a fight to the end until Hurricane spun himself out, and it gave Hazel that win. Now he's trying to see if he can back it up in the AlphaTauri. His current lap is significantly off pace right now. If I had to wager a guess, I think that he might be going for race pace testing right now. Young Maneuver, it's absolutely wonderful to see him back. He's running his qualifying lap on the intermediate tires. No need to put the car under undue stress here. And the anticipated forecast for today's event is going to be dry all the way through today's race. If that ends up being the case, then these intermediate and wet laps runs will mean absolutely nothing whatsoever. Davis John, who has finally begun a lap of his own. His teammate Kinsey Retro has already retired from the session. Davis, though, going full bore at the moment. difficult to keep the car clean through that little chicane because of the nature of the inside curb. He's got it good as he comes flying into this nice hairpin young maneuvers. Apparently just got just left the session in the middle of a lap. Well, no, in the middle of the lane, but hopefully he'll be able to come back in without too much issue. At the line, Davis John has a time good enough to set him in fourth, 1:11.059, almost to the thousandth, a full second off of Hazel, who currently has the top time in the session. Ryan Hurricane is in the middle of a flying lap right now, as well as he is going through sector 2. The camera having a little bit of a schizophrenic fit right there. Hurricane on a very, very slow lap again. Not really a lot of a risk to running an excessively slow lap right now because we only have 15 drivers. All of them are pretty much guaranteed to make it into the next session. He will cross the line. I said he'll cross the line, but apparently the game deleted that lap altogether. That's interesting. Waddington is also in the middle of a lap right now. 19.677 near the sector 1, so looking a little bit strong through there. That maneuver's been kicked in session again. Got the DRS open, is leaning kind of heavily on the ERS down the straight. Nearly gets into the wall there, but at the line, Waddington is good enough to be the 13th driver set lap time. It's fourth, 1:10.362, and now Ryan Hurricane will come by and he will set a lap time of his own. His time will be a 1:10.141. That's good enough for third thus far. That means that everyone who has shown up, except for Kinsey Retro, has set a lap time. I imagine we may see the session in relatively shortly here. Almost everyone is in pit lane, except for Danny, Waddington, and Hurricane. And in the case of Hurricane and Waddington, they've already completed a lap. I imagine we'll see them come into the pit lane very shortly. Danny is up by 7 full seconds. He had a very, very poor first initial lap. He's actually going for a full bore here to see what he can actually do at the moment. Pops the DRS open there on the back straightaway. It's not really a real back straightaway because it's almost right into the main straight, but differentiating between the straights can be a little bit difficult here, I guess, if you're using traditional North American terms. Danny is going to go up to 1:10.405. That's good enough for 6 on the timesheets. So again, everyone has set a lap, if not more, and we are anticipating that we'll see Danny and Ryan Hurricane come to the pit very shortly. Waddington has already brought it into the pit lane. Steele is retired from the session, and yes, here comes Hurricane right now. Here, Bruce retires from the session. He feels no need to continue pushing. Fuel is very low on Danny's car, so we will see him coming to the pits this time around. Davis Kellen has now retired from the session. Hazel has retired from the session. Hoover's retired from the session now as well. And Lowe has apparently just started an outlap. I have no idea why, when we only have 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, but he is on an outlap with softs equipped, and he's already invalidated, though. Now, Danny, Ollie, and Herbie are all in pit lane. None of them are retired from the session yet. Lowe is the only car who's out, the only driver with his car out on the circuit right now. He's in the car also, I want to make that very clear. Here's Ollie retiring from the session. Again, no risk of getting kicked out if another driver was to suddenly join right now. It would be Kinsey Retro who would be the one who gets kicked out. Danny is now retired from the session. And Lowe is apparently actually going for a true flying lap here. Not 100% sure why, but he might be using this to get a little bit of testing in for Q2. These are fresh softs, so this is the second set of softs that he's touched in this session. Herbie is now retired from the session, so everyone is waiting on Lowe to bring it in the pits to conclude Q1. However, Lowe just simply does not seem to really care. Pops up in the DRS right now on the second straight, or third straight. I'll figure something out in this event. And he abandons it. And there we are. That's the end of qualifying session 1. Again, with only 15 drivers being here, everyone will automatically advance into qualifying session 2. This is the session that actually matters as we're seeing drivers finally beginning to make the run onto the race circuit itself. That's Waddington, who's going to be the first of the Haas's to get onto the circuit. But the real focus is going to be Wax and Wax's teammate Ollie in the Alphas, as they are the first 2 cars out on the circuit. Again, a lot of drivers saying that the medium tires are the way to go today. But right now, right off the bat, it seems like the distribution is pretty even between the mediums and softs. Actually, a little bit more of a tendency to run the mediums, but 6 drivers on softs right now, 9 on the mediums. Everyone who's currently in the middle of an outlap has the mediums equipped. This is Ollie, and we're going to ride on board with him for a lap in Q2 on the mediums as he runs his first lap in Q2. He sets a 110.922. He came extremely close to invalidating his lap there in the final chicane, but it is still good. Waddington will be the next driver to cross the line, but he's invalidated his lap. He's actually going to bring it into the pits. That means that it's going to come down to Kinsey Retro to be the second driver to set a time right now. Very aggressive on the ERS going down the straights. ERS pops back on, DRS open, and across the line, Kinsey is able to set a time of 111.835, not even close to the time that Ollie is set at the start. Danny JJ802 will be the next driver to set a time, and it will be a 113.535. And that's a very interesting one because he set that time on the soft tire compounds, and yet he's still way off pace compared to everybody else. And he validates his very next lap. Anyways, Herbie and Steele are the next two drivers to come across. They're both in the Mercedes. Steele first will set a lap time of 110.0930, and his teammate Herbie will come across with a 111.288. Ollie is still the fastest on the timesheets. Right now we have Wax, who is coming across the line to begin his flying lap. He came out early, but then came back into the pits for a while. I'm guessing to adjust setup or something. Right now, Young Maneuver and Danny are the only two drivers who have softs equipped. And the softs right now are only being represented in the timesheets by Danny, and it's still way off of what they're saying, which is an inverse of what you would traditionally see. Meanwhile, this is Hazel. Riding down the first of the two main straights, buzzes it through the Wall of Champions chicane, and at the line, he is going to set a lap time of 110.006, coming very close to breaking the 110 barrier altogether. So now he goes to the top once more. Beard Boost is in the middle of an outlap right now, as is Waddington, as is Zola. Wax is in the middle of his lap right now, as he's on the first half of the front straight. No, that's what I'm talking about. The first half and the second half of the front straightaway. And the DRS pops open, and at the line, Wax will be the 8th driver to set a lap time, and it will be a 111.918. He's going to be joined very shortly here by Beard Boost, who is rounding. No, Beard Boost is actually still on an outlap. Never mind. I misread that. Waddington tried to set a lap a little earlier in the session, but he invalidated it, so now he has to go at it again. And Zola is a little bit farther up on the circuit compared to him. Zola will be one of the next drivers to set a lap time. Our current points leader, trying to make something happen as he comes buzzing down to the hairpin. The DRS on that car pops open now. On the first half of the front straight. First front straight? I'll figure something out. It's so hard to delineate the straights here a little bit. At the line, Zola will go ahead and set a lap time of good enough for fourth. It's a 111.064. Here comes Waddington. DRS pops open on the Haas, and at the line, he will go ahead and set a lap time of 110.459. It's good enough for second right now. Ryan Hurricane is in the middle of the lap right now, second in points. Could have been leading the points if he won or just was able to hold on to second at the end of last week's event at Bahrain. It's a very, very slow time, though, of only 129.198. He needs to significantly improve if he wants to make it into Q3. Gun Maneuver is still in pit lane. XRRL is in the middle of an outlap, and Pinkwo is in the middle of a lap right now because Beard Boost has just completed his lap time 110.909. Of note, Kinsey Retro and Danny JJ are not. Danny JJ has set a lap time on the sauce, as we know, but so has Kinsey Retro, so has Davis Khan, and so has XRRL Steel. Oh no, wait, those are the tires they're putting on. They're preparing. Yeah. Hazel's just retired from the session. Right now, Danny JJ is the only driver to have set the time on the softs, but that's going to change very shortly here, I imagine, because Steele, Davis Khan, and Kinsey Retro all have equipped softs in the pit lane. Pinquo is up by a little bit more than half a second right now. Might be able to move up be a significant help for him if he can do so. Steele is coming across the line to begin a flying lap. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that was not Steele. That is Herbie, who's on another flying lap. Pinquo has lost a little bit of time in Sector 2, but he's still in a position to go up. While Team retires from the session, he feels confident being second right now. Young Maneuver has finally begun his outlap, and XRRL is still in the middle of a lap as well. Those chicanes, Pinquo puts the car almost right on the wall, and at the line, Pinquo, will he improve? Yes, he does. It's good enough for third now. 1:10.521. Here comes Lowe, but he has invalidated his current lap. He's having a lot of time keeping these clean. It's another circuit around. The good news is he should still have the fuel to make another lap happen. Young Maneuver is on an outlap right now, as is XRRL Steele. Steele, in fact, has just begun his lap, and he's going to be doing these on these soft tires, so we're going to see potentially where the softs really stick up compared to the medium tire compounds. Right now, the gap between the fastest soft time and the fastest medium time is not indicative of actual pace, because Danny has been the only driver to set a true time on the softs, and it was very, very slow. But already, Steele is up by a quarter of a second at the end of Sector 1. Almost over-rotates the car coming out of that chicane, but at the end of Sector 2, he is now up by 43 hundredths. Now he rounds the hairpin. Be very careful putting the power down there, Steele. But he is on a true flyer right now. The DRS pops open once more on this back straightaway. I'm going to call this the back straightaway, and the second DRS zone, the one that's in Sector 2, I'm just going to call it a DRS zone, because that's not a true straight. Pinquo has retired from the session. He feels comfortable with third, and Steele has hit the wall there, but it's still clean for the moment. He will improve up to 7th now, and Zola has begun an outlap on the soft tire compounds. James, John, Herbie, and Kinsey are all in pit lane on soft tire compounds. Danny is in the mediums right now. He is already 7/10 up from the time he put on the softs. It was just a very, very poor time. Kinsey has just retired from the session. He feels that he is not going to be able to go faster than where he currently is. So Kinsey will not advance to Q3. Danny is up by 1.7 seconds at the end of Sector 2. I don't know if that was Beard Boost or Low, but one of the McLarens were off there in that second chicane in Sector 2. Danny trying to put down a true lap time here as he chucks it aggressively, going through the World Champion chicane, and at the line, Danny will improve significantly. 1:10.230, that is a wonderful time. Young Maneuver is up by almost a second and a half right now as he's got the DRS popping open down this back straightaway. Ahead is one of the McLarens. He's not going to be a factor. Coming line, Young Maneuver will improve. He will improve up to 4th, 1:10.518. That's the ability of what the softs can actually do. The Mercedes comes across the line, and that is going to be Herbie. He is on the soft tire compounds, and he was up by about 7/10 at the end of that lap, but it was not a valid lap time. He has to go again. Right now, Wax is on the bubble. He's out there on the mediums trying to go faster. Beard Boost, Zola, Jamestown, and Herbie are all equipping soft tires to make something happen right now. Zola and Herbie are both on the racetrack in the middle of flying laps, and this could make things very interesting here in these last 2.5 minutes. Danny is pulling it into the pits. He is not pushing any harder. Herbie is up at the end of Sector 2. The DRS is open on this Mercedes. And everything is trending towards softs, but it's trended very late in the session. At the line, Herbie Second on the time chase, 110.117. And here comes Zola, the other end of the circuit, trying to do something, make something happen as well. Unmaneuver is going to come across the line, but he's very, very slow. He pulled over completely. I wonder why he's going again. He may think he has even more pace. Beard Boost is beginning another flying lap right now on the softs. 1 minute and 26 seconds left, so you could run this lap and potentially start one more. I see what looks like an alpha. That is Ollie. He has equipped the soft tire compounds, and he is on an out lap right now. Ryan Hurricane's retired from the session, but he's been pushed down to 7 with all these drivers swapping to softs. He might end up getting kicked out of the session late. Zola to the top, 109.994. The 110 barrier has been broken by your current points leader. Wax. On the medium tires, he is down on time right now. This is not looking good for him. Beard Boost has rounded the hairpin. He's going to try and make something happen here. And just a little bit ahead of him is Young Maneuver. Shucking the car into pit lane. He is not going to run again. Ollie is in the middle of an out lap. Will he make it to the line in time, though? That's going to be the question. Steele is not going to make it to the line in time to set a better time, so Steele is going to get knocked out. Beard Boost to the top, 109.641 with those soft tire compounds. Ryan Hurricane at risk of getting knocked out of the session right now. Ollie has been able to start a flying lap. Lowe is in the middle of a lap that's already a quarter second faster. Steele is not going to be able to set a time because the injectors are out for the session. Everyone must complete the lap they're on right now. Zola is going to bring it into the pits. There's no point in him pushing harder, he feels. This is Wax. He's coming around the hairpin right now. DRS is open. The fuel light is on, though. So I have to wonder if maybe he's going to bring it in to the pits. This is Lowe. He's got the DRS open. He's on a flying lap. And there you have it. Lowe's going to come across the line. Will he improve? Right now, Ollie is on the bubble. Will he get knocked out? Ollie is out. And now Renault takes the top line right now. And Ollie is in the middle of a flying lap right now, and Hurricane is the driver on the bubble. Coming to the line, Ollie with the DRS open. Will he knock Hurricane out? Boy, does he knock Hurricane out. And the session is over. And second in points, Ryan Hurricane gets knocked out. And this means that in the end of the top 10, 6 of them are running these soft tire compounds. So a lot of drivers, if they're going to stick with the two-stop strategy, are going to have to go soft, medium, medium by the looks of it. And it's going to be Ryan Hurricane, XRRL Steel, XRRL Wax, Javis John, and Kinsey Retro who will not advance to the next session. Panko and the Haas advances, Young Maneuver and the Tracing Point advances. 1 second, real quickly. There, you can see them now. A. Wellington and the Haas advances, Ollie and the Alpha advances, Danny and the Renault advances, Herbie and the Mercedes advances, Hazel and the AlphaTauri advances, Zola and the Tracing Point advances, and Lowe and Beard Boost and the McLaren have the top spots for the moment. Drivers are already on their way out. The first one who's going to come onto the racetrack is going to be Haas of A. Waddington. Already, we have 6 of the 10 drivers already, I'm sorry, 7 of the 10 drivers already out onto the race circuit. Waddington trying to be the first one to set the laps here. He was now moving from the Mercedes pit, so Herbie is on his way out now. No movement yet from Hazel or Zola, 2 of the fastest drivers in the series. They're going to wait until the track is a little bit cleaner for them. We're going to go silent and right on board with Pinkwell for one flying lap here at Montreal in Q3. And there you are, a lap on board Pinkwell. It's a 1:10.583. Not even close, though, to the time Beard Boost is set, 1:09.620 in the McLaren. Hazel is in the middle of an outlap, and he's been the fastest driver at the end of Q1 and one of the fastest in Q2. So we'll be interested to see if he'll be able to go 3 poles in a row here, as he goes flying through the first corners right now. Zola and Danny are currently in the pits, and Zola has not made any effort to leave the pits. Danny came out earlier, but came back in shortly afterwards. This is Herbie in the Mercedes, though. He will be the 7th driver to set a time. Right now, the spread is very wide, about 1.5 second spread in the top 6, so I can imagine we'll see some improvement from at least Young Maneuver that will bring him more in line with everyone else. Hazel in the middle of a flying lap right now, though. The ERS and DRS both being used very aggressively right now. 41.346 at the end of Sector 2. A little bit of a lockup at the front tires isn't going to be an issue, though, because Hazel's already underway once more. Going down this back straightaway, the DRS is popping open. Coming to the line, Hazel with a time of 1:09.556. That's a little bit better than Beard Boost, and enough to give him what would be the pole for now. Herbie, invalid lap once more. It's just not working out for him. Danny is in the middle of an outlap right now, and there is still no movement from Zola's team, indicating that he will be leaving to try and set a time. And this would be the best time to get out to the circuit because there's not very many cars out right now. Herbie in the middle of an invalid lap, so Danny is anticipated to be the next driver to make something happen, unless Hazel is trying to go for back-to-back flyer laps. It does not look like it because he's already down by almost an entire second. Danny's in Sector 1 right now, in the Renault, one of 3 Renault-powered cars to make it into Q3. 19.529 at the end of Sector 1. Those are through that chicane right before the second DRS straight. And heavy under braking once you get underneath that Rolex bridge. The chicane at the end of that second DRS straight. Another acceleration focus run down into the hairpin 41.224 at the end of Sector 2. Doesn't have too much of a problem putting the power down as he gets onto the back straightaway here. The DRS pops open in the Renault. Lowe is on another outlap, and I see movement by one of the racing points. But at the line, Danny will set a time good enough for the top, 109.334. And Zola is finally on his way out onto the circuit. He's there with Young Maneuver, and the two of them might try giving each other a little bit of a DRS pull, so that way they can have even better times. Right now, Young Maneuver and Zola are at the bottom of the sheets. Herbie is in the middle of a flying lap right now. He'll finally might be able to set a time. 106, 107, 108, and at the 9 line, Herbie's going to set a 110.124. It's all down to these two right now, though. Young Maneuver and Zola. Zola will be getting the draft off Young Maneuver, but he needs to close in just a little bit more right now because Young Maneuver is opening up a gap on his teammate. Hazel is in the middle of another outlap. He wants to get another pole. The gap between Young Maneuver and Zola have opened up far enough now that they're not going to be able to get a DRS advantage off of each other down the straights. Behind Zola is Danny, as we anticipate he will be bringing it into the pits after that monster lap he had earlier. And here we are. Young Maneuver and Zola are now beginning their flying laps to see if they can improve. Young Maneuver needs to improve by roughly 1.8 seconds to get the pole. Zola just needs to set a time in general. Because right now his biggest rival is only going to start 11th. The higher and higher up Zola starts, the better and better he will be at the start of this event. Lowe is in the middle of a flying lap right now. This is interesting. Zola has actually closed in on his teammate just a little bit in Sector 1. I don't know if it was enough to give him a serious draft through that straight, but he's definitely closing in. Oh, wow, that got a little bit crazy. A little bit of oversteer when he put the throttle down. That's going to open the gap again between himself. Lowe, coming across the line, will go ahead, and he will try and improve. Does not seem like it's as much. He's at 110.065. He's still fourth. Zola needs to send it through this final chicane, and that's exactly what he's done at the line. Young Maneuver will improve, and Zola will set a time. Young Maneuver, 110.936. Zola, 110.667. They finally have set times, but neither of them are very good times. Hazel is not in the middle of a good lap. He's down by a half a second right now. And I don't think there's going to be enough fuel in that car to get him to go another time. Lowe is up by 2/10, actually over a quarter now at the end of Sector 2, but his fuel light is flashing. The question is he going to stay on it? Is he going to make this go to the end? He might as well, because with 2 minutes and 26 seconds left, there's not a high likelihood to be able to get another chance. He better take that little bit of advantage he's got. Boy, does he take it! 109.519. Lowe pulled a lot of extra time out of that final chicane. He is now the driver in second. Pinko is on another outlap. Zola trying to make another lap happen here, nearly into the wall. His teammate Young Maneuver is bringing into the pits, but Zola at the line is good enough for fifth, 109.893. The 110 barrier has thoroughly been smashed at this point. Herbie is on his way out now. Waddington is already in the middle of an outlap. Ollie is coming out of the pits as well. Pinko is beginning a flying lap as we speak. Young Maneuver is in the pits though. And Lowe, completely out of fuel, or almost completely out of fuel at least, on that second DRS straight. But right now, Danny has the pole and he's coming out because he wants to defend that and maybe even go faster. lane right now, but is on the slow drive out of pit road. Hopefully he can make it to the line in time. 1 minute and 12 seconds left. It's going to be close if Hazel can make it to the line to set that next flying lap. Here comes Lowe. He is going to be bringing it into the pits. He is second on the sheets right now. Zola in a similar position, very, very low on fuel right now. Beard boost, though, not an issue for him. He is going full bore. Zola retires. He is fifth on the timesheets right now, 109.893. So the question right now, Danny, will he make it to the line in time? There's 25 seconds left, so he will make it to the line in time to set another flying lap. What about Hazel? 14 seconds left right now. It's going to be extremely close, and he can't afford to dirty the lap in these last corners. 7 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3. He timed it well enough. He's in another lap. And with that, time's up. Over. Plow. Danny is down on time by 7 thousandths right now. Beard boost down by 4 tenths and is actually extremely slowed down the straight. That's Ollie who has gone by him. That's Waddington, or it might be Pinko. It's one of the Haas's pulled over though. Coming to the line, Ollie. What does he improve by? 6th. He goes up to 6th. Pinko does not improve by any significant amount. Here comes Danny. Has he been able to improve? No, he is down on time by about a 10th. So now it's all down to Hazel. Will Hazel be able to get back on the front row or maybe even take the pole? He invalidates! He invalidates going through the wall of champions chicane. And the time he had was not going to be good enough anyways. So Hazel will be left with a third place starting position. A very, very frantic end to Q3 here at Montreal. But Danny in the Renault takes pole with XRRL and the McLaren starting alongside him. Hazel will start third in the AlphaTauri. Beard Boost will start fourth in the other McLaren. Zola will start fifth in the Racing Point. Ollie will start sixth in the Alpha. Herbie will start seventh in the Mercedes. Waddington and Pinkwell bring the Haas's home, well, to start in 8th and 9th. And Young Maneuver will be starting 10th in the Racing Point. And now it is time to stand by until we get the race itself underway. Moment is a little bit of a 5-minute break before we get into the event itself. Just stand by right now until we get the race itself properly underway here. Just currently standing by until we get the race itself underway. We're looking at a 14 or 15 car field, assuming everyone was able to stick around at the end of qualifying for today's event. Alright, here we are. 5 lights, and it is lights out, and away we go here at Montreal. And right off the bat, it looks like a relatively clean getaway, although they go briefly for a wide, as one of the Alphas do not get going properly, and farther back, already damaged. One of the Haas's have run into the back of another driver. There's significant front wing damage. We can see there, that is Pinkro. But at the front of the field, though, Danny is taking the pull over the two McLarens, and Hazel has dropped all the way to 8th right now at the start of today's event. This is Herbie, who is in 5th, trying to make something happen against Zola. Oh, and Herbie goes right with Zola. That's going to cause damage. Oh, and that's Ollie. And that's a huge accident there. Ollie is right there, and now Kizzy has been involved. Ryan Hurricane has been involved. Jameis killing Ollie. Kinsey Retro has taken a little... No, Kinsey Retro got away without damage. But that's a virtual safety car. I'm shocked that wasn't a full course safety car. But there is your first yellow flag of the day. Anyways, Ryan Hurricane's in the pits, as is Pinquo. Beard Boost came into the pits as well, despite being way up in the order. Trying to see if we can get word from either Jameis Dillon or Ollie about what happened there. And there is someone else who has stalled there. Oh no, and that's Hazel! Hazel has had an accident on the racetrack under the yellow. Well, we're back under green now, but he has had an accident. And the front wing of that car is damaged, and he's right in the middle of a circuit where it's hard for him to get going properly as he's plummeting through the field. Hazel, who had been a dominant force over the last two races, sees this event race slipping away from him. A little bit farther up, though, Herbie is in a fight with Waddington down the straightaway. Herbie bounced off the wall, and that led to that big accident, although he was not directly involved. Now he's already moving his way back up to the field, though. And DRS has now been enabled across the field. Ooh, Herbie into the dirt. That's not going to do good for him. That means Waddington's going to be positioned perfectly to try and make something happen. Meanwhile, a little bit further back in the field behind them, this is Wax, who is trying to make some distance up on Young Maneuver. But Young Maneuver is on soft tire compounds and Wax is on the mediums right now. Waddington's fighting back against Herbie. He's got the DRS on this straight, and that's going to bring him in to about 4/10 off of that Mercedes. The Mercedes having a lot of trouble putting the power down. Some of these chicanes is going to be perfect for the Haas to make something happen. He might try to do it here in the hairpin. Well, he might, but doesn't mean he will. But on the exit out, you can see the Mercedes really struggling to put power down. Waddington is now a perfect DRS area, and further back, Wax is going to try and make DRS happen against Young Maneuver. Here comes the move for the fourth position. Waddington on the inside, neck and neck as they go into the chicane. The Mercedes makes the crossover stick to Herbie. Time penalty for track violations. Herbie is back in front, but Waddington is still there. A little bit of tire in the grass action from the Mercedes. And Waddington on the inside. The Mercedes having a lot of trouble putting power down, coming onto the straights. He's into the dirt. He makes a little bit of contact there. But Waddington now moves up for good into the fourth position. Now Herbie will have the chance, if he can make this sick, he will have the chance to utilize DRS to close in on the Haas on this straight. That's exactly what he's doing here. But he's not going to be close enough to make the move right now. Well, that was not a good line through there. A little bit farther back, Wax has caught Young Maneuver and might be able to make the DRS work on that on the tracing point going on to this back straightaway. It's a very long DRS straight down here. He's going to make an inside move apparently, and Young is going to pinch him off. That's no bueno. And Wax has to go way off the circuit to make sure he doesn't end up going to the wall, so he's now going to lose that position to Steele, and I'm sure he is not going to be happy about that in the slightest. Herbie is now losing Waddington, and speaking of losing, Lowe is losing Danny rapidly. Despite having the soft tire compounds, Danny is running away from the field right now. Real quick, I'm going to try and see if I can get Ollie in here one more time and see if we can hear from him what happened there in that incident at the start. Zola wants to get within Lowe so that way he can utilize DRS on him, but he's doing it all by his own ability right now, and he's still stuck about 1 second off of the McLaren ahead of him. Because of that, he's not able to utilize the DRS to close in. He's got the draft on this straightaway, though, but the problem is now he's close to that McLaren. In these technical sections of the racetrack, there's not going to be as much downforce going over the front tires, and it's going to make him use up those softs faster than Lowe will be up ahead. Right now, Zola is in a very good position. His biggest rivals in the points, Ryan Hurricane, is down there in the 12th position and 6 seconds out from even getting to 11th. So right now, Zola may be in a very good position to walk out of here and extend his points lead. He's putting pressure on the McLaren right now, and he should have DRS on him coming on to... Ooh, this is a nice angle. Doesn't really tell us anything, but it's a nice angle. And he should have DRS on him on this straight now. 6/10 out, and will now begin closing that down rapidly. That is Hazel, who is a lap down behind these two, and he is not going to directly play into this race unless he can find a way to get back on the lead lap. Still hanging out behind Lowe, but not really in a position to make a move. Not yet, at least. This is a little bit farther back, though. Steel and Wax are in a little bit of a scuffle of their own. Right on board with Hazel, as he's got the perfect viewpoint of this battle that's forming for second between Zola and Lowe. Lowe having a little bit of a moment under defense going into the corner, and then Zola having a little bit of a moment coming out of that chicane. Zola and Hazel have DRS on Lowe ahead, but again, Hazel is a lap down. Zola is fine for an actual position. But Zola does not seem to have what it takes to be able to make it stick. And that is Herbie, who is coming into the pits. So that means Wax will take that position by default now. And Herbie only 6 laps on his soft tire compounds. And wing damage is the reason why they are pitting that Mercedes for the moment. Meanwhile, back in this battle for second and third, Hazel is just a little bit faster than both these drivers ahead of him by virtue of running slightly fresher softs. The problem is he can't really do anything to them right now because Zola is still trying to hound Lowe for this position. But Zola is spending more and more time behind this McLaren, and it's hindering his ability to make these tires work more and more, and that's making him even slower and slower than Hazel behind. Zola has a really, really good exit through that corner. He's got DRS also, but this DRS straight just isn't enough for him to close in to make a move. He's been behind the McLaren this entire time, but can't actually do anything to him. Wax is now coming into the pits. And for Wax, I believe it's the same thing. Wing damage is the reason for him to come in as well. Herbie has now overtaken Hurricane on the straight, but then Herbie ends up cutting the circuit. That's not going to be very good for him. Hazel is now getting to the point where he is being held up behind these two lead lap cars. He is significantly faster than both of them, but he is now being held up by both of them, and Zola is just not able to do anything to Lowe. Lowe has a little bit of a lockup there going into the hairpin, but it's not going to matter because he still gets a better exit than Zola does. Oh, and Kinsey has gone around. Kinsey has had an accident there coming out of the chicane. Be careful coming onto the circuit. And Kinsey, who is in the midfield, has now had an accident. Look at the field rushing up to come by him. That's Young Maneuver. That's going to be Herbie, who's right there as well. And there's very significant wind damage on Kinsey's car right now. Ryan Hurricane will be happy to see us because he will have the ability to get back in the points-paying positions now. Zola continues to hang out right behind these two. Oh, we got another battle. This is actually going to be a battle now. Herbie and Young Maneuver at it once more. Neck and neck as they go in through turns 1 and 2. But Herbie pulled out of it, so Young Maneuver is going to hold on to that position for just a little bit longer. Both these cars on relatively fresh, soft tires. Kinsey has jumped onto the hard tire compound, so he's anticipating running that for a good chunk of today's race now. And now Waddington is beginning to close in on Zola. Something has happened to Zola that has caused him to drop off the back of Lowe. I don't see wind damage on the car, but he may have had an incident. He has now fallen behind Hazel and now is under threat of losing third to Waddington behind him. Waddington is on tires that he started this race on, but they're medium tires. They're still in a decent position right now. This also is good for Hazel because if Hazel is faster than Lowe right now, Hazel could utilize DRS and get by the McLaren and then put himself in a slightly better position as this race goes on. Ryan Hurricane has caught this battle now between Young Maneuver and Herbie. Herbie is the next driver he needs to get by. He is currently 10th, and he needs to get more points if he can. Herbie runs really wide to try and maximize the amount of track the car goes over so he has a little bit more time to put the power down. Herbie, another time penalty. That's the problem with doing that, though, is that you run the risk of getting a lot of time penalties by doing so. You can see Ryan Hurricane taking much straighter and smoother lines through these corners, as he has the DRS on the Mercedes ahead. Meanwhile, farther up, Waddington is right there, and Zola has made the pit. And Waddington is now going to, by default, move up into the third position. Lowe, on the other hand, has let Hazel go. Zola has equipped the mediums, and I anticipate he will run this set of mediums and another set to the end of today's race. Beard Boost is going to go ahead and pick up the 5th position, and Pinkwo will pick up the 6th spot now. Ryan Hurricane has just gotten by Herbie on that DRS straight there, and now he's going to set his sights on Young Maneuver, and he might also be able to set his sights on Zola, depending on how things go. But here's the thing, Hurricane is on some of the oldest soft tires in the field. Lowe and Pinkwo are on comparably old tires, but Hurricane's been spending a lot of time rushing with these tires. Oh, and Herbie's in the grass back there. That's not looking good for him. Ooh, this is kind of a weird camera angle. Not necessarily a bad one, but definitely a weirder one. The gap is now really open. The top 3 are gone compared to the rest of the field. And even then, the gap between Danny in first and Lowe in second is hanging around 8 seconds right now. Here's Danny, and Lowe isn't even close to ending the first sector. In fact, he's going to come out of the first sector right now. Young Maneuver is coming to the pits. This means that Ryan Hurricane has now been brought up to 8th position, and there you are. 4-stop strategy. The window is opened up now if you're going to be running soft, and mediums. But again, the main strategy that was talked about by most of the drivers going into this event was a 2-stop strategy. We'd start on softs or mediums, and then you would run 2 sets of mediums and only 1 set of softs in today's event. Wax is currently 10th and trying to make up ground on Herbie ahead. A little bit of an issue putting the power down there. And that's the give and take of Montreal. It gives you a lot of straight line speed, but you need to be able to maximize your ability to put the power down coming onto these nice long straightaways, otherwise you'll be hurting very badly. Herbie, another time penalty for track violations, and he still has Wax closing in on him at a rapid rate. We may see Wax take this position from the Mercedes in the next lap. A little bit farther up, Waddington is on better tires than Lowe, and this is the battle for the second position. A little bit of a lockup from the McLaren. No real issue putting the power down for either of them, but Waddington has DRS on this straightaway. He's going to try and clear him by the time they get into the Wall of Champions chicane. And that's exactly what he's going to do. But now, the DRS Manfan is going to go to Lowe behind. And Lowe got a better run onto the straight than Waddington, so they're going to be neck and neck for the second position going into turn 2. A bit of contact. McLaren's forced to run a wider line. And the Haas now officially has second position. A little bit farther back, Herbie has now lost his position to Wax. So Herbie is now at risk of falling out of the points paying positions in today's race. Young Maneuver is another 14.3 seconds out. However, Herbie will have to pit soon, and Young Maneuver will be able to go a little bit on the tires that he is on. Beard Boost has caught the other Mercedes of Steel, and this will be a battle for the 4th and 5th positions. Going into the hairpin, Beard Boost wants to have a straighter exit than Steel. And now he's going to have DRS on the Mercedes. Already pulls alongside him before the DRS even pops open. So he should be able to put that McLaren ahead. And yes, he will have the McLaren ahead before they even get to the chicane. Now, will Steel be able to make up much time in the chicane? No, he does not. Beard Boost is just going to further extend. So now the McLarens are 3rd and 4th right now. Lowe has lost his position to Waddington. I was focusing on battles in the back, but Lowe has now fallen behind Waddington, and Waddington, though, 12.6 seconds out from Danny, and I do not anticipate he has the ability to run down the Renault. So right now, the Renault of Danny is the car and driver combo to beat in today's event. A little bit farther back in the order, though, Wax is now going to see if he can do anything to Hurricane. Hurricane has run 14 laps on his soft tires. Wax only has 7. So he's going to be a little bit faster than Hurricane for a bit longer here, and he might be able to utilize the DRS to try and move himself up into the 8th position. Hurricane is now 8th, and Zola is 7th with time penalties, meaning that right now, Zola has lost the advantage he had early on against Hurricane. The difference, though, is that Zola is on mediums that he'll be able to go for a little bit on. Hurricane and Wax will both have to pit sooner than Zola will, so it's still going to look like it may turn out in Zola's favor as we go on. Lowe is pitting out of the 3rd position, and now the question is going to be, where will Lowe come out once he completes his stop? Wax is there behind Ryan Hurricane. He's going to pop open the DRS on the straight, but is he close enough to make it happen before they get into the World Champions chicane? It does not look likely here. Need to be very smooth. Oh! And Hurricane pits. Hurricane's going to pit right now. So now Wax is going to take over that position as well. And Lowe has fallen all the way to the 5th position now. With Pinquo, who's in very, very worn sauce, behind him. Oh, and Young Maneuver. Young Maneuver has had an incident on the racetrack. And it's on the straight. That's the very interesting part. Whatever's happened to Young Maneuver happened on the straight here. The car just seems to be off the circuit. sure what's going on there. We'll try and get in touch with Young Maneuver. But Young Maneuver, who is in a position to make up a lot of ground in the points today, is now out of the event. Kinsey Retro is going to take advantage of this and jump onto a new set of tires, and we are back on the green flag racing already. So Kinsey gets a free pit stop out of that, and that might be able to bring him into a little bit stronger tension in his battle with Hazel for what will be the single point given for fastest lap of drivers outside the top 10. Not been able to get in contact with Young Maneuver though, it seems, so he may not be willing to share what he has to say about this. This is going to be very interesting because we have Zola, who's about 2 seconds behind Pinko. Pinko is within DRS range of Low, and Low's within DRS range of Steel. Low is on fresher tires than Steel, though Pinko is on very old tires. I imagine he'll lose pace with this battle ahead. But Low is there and ready to give Steel some help. Pinko does have the advantage of being able to utilize DRS in some of these straightaways, and that will keep him in contention with this for a little bit longer. This is the real battle between Steel and Low right now. Of note, Pinko is running tires that he's run since he had to pit from that massive lap 1 accident. Mercedes still having trouble putting power down coming onto the straight. So that's not just a Herbie problem, that seems to be a problem that both of the Mercedes are having. And Low is going to be able to utilize this. He's going to try and go side by side with the Mercedes. In fact, he's going to go ahead of him right before they get into this high-speed chicane. Now onto the second straightaway though, Steel has DRS, but he loses a little bit of time to Low, and actually Low was ahead of was behind Steel still at that second DRS zone, so Low is actually going to open up the gap even farther now. Now the question is, can Pinko do anything to try and catch Steel here? And that's Zola. Zola has caught Pinko, and he is going to try and take 6 from him. So Hurricane seems to be stuck in the bottom half of the top 10, while Zola is stuck in the middle third, by the looks of it. So the points advantage would still go to Zola. Being very aggressive, trying to look for anything he can to get by the Haas. Oh, a little bit of contact there, but that shouldn't be too bad of an issue. Now again, Zola has DRS on Pinko, but Pinko has DRS, I believe. Yeah, Pinko has DRS on Steel, but it doesn't matter because Zola had a better run coming onto the straight. So now Zola is going to have DRS on Steel here, and Pinko might be able to capitalize if one of these two make a mistake like Zola just did there. Zola just tapped the wall. Now Pinko is going to go back in front. They both have DRS on each other, though. Zola sends it to the inside. A little bit of a lockup from Pinko, but Pinko is going to hold on to the 6th position. Zola is stuck in 7th for another lap. And Pinko is within DRS range of Steel now. But Steel is on 19 lap mediums, and the same tires that Steel started this race on, pretty much. A yellow flag, and that's Hazel. Hazel has had a spin, putting the power down, coming out of that corner, and he's into the wall. And he's out of the set race. And that's right in the middle of the race circuit. Here comes Waddington. Well, it's not in the middle of the racing line at least, but Hazel has just been taken out of the event. We're going to try and see what Hazel has to say. Maybe he will be willing to share what's happened today to him, with him. A little bit of a hiccup there from Pinko. That's going to give Zola the perfect chance to easily get by the Haas. They both have DRS on each other, though, for the moment. Beard Boost has a time penalty. And Danny, our race leader, is finally making a pit stop. And there goes Pinko pitting as well. Zola putting the pressure on Steel right now. Zola 9 laps on medium tires, but he's definitely put a lot more wear than just 9 laps considering all the aggressive maneuvers he was trying to use to get around Pinko. But his tires are still going to be in better condition than Steel's, and I imagine he'll be able to utilize that to get by the Mercedes in this straight right here. He's already side by side And utilizing DRS, he's ahead. Moves Zola up into the 5th position. Oh, excuse me, down. So Waddington is currently your race leader. And him and Steele are on the same set of medium tires that they started this race on, but they are losing time and losing time rapidly to everyone else. Danny has gone onto soft tire compounds and is now trying to put pressure on Waddington ahead. This is your battle for the lead, the top spot. Danny will be able to get by Waddington on the next straight. Oh no, he's going to make the move for it here. A little bit of contact. That's not exactly what you want to be doing through there. Waddington's going to hold on for just a little bit longer. But here comes Danny. They're going to be neck and neck as they come on the run down to the hairpin. Herbie has the wider line, so he's going to be able to put the power on a little bit smoother and will buzz ahead. But now the thing is, that means that the benefit is going to go to... that's interesting. So Danny completed the pass before the DRS zone started. So Danny actually massively extends his lead over Waddington. So Waddington's going to go ahead and come to the pits. And now I have to wonder if Steele is going to do the same thing, as will Beard Boost. Beard Boost is actually staying out just a little bit longer. For Steele, will he stay out or is he going to come in now? He's staying out another lap. Herbie has put on new tires. He is currently in the 10th position. And frankly, Herbie has 28 seconds over Kinsey. All Herbie has to do to earn points is to just stay where he is and not wreck out. Lowe in a very interesting position. He is 1.7 seconds out from his teammate Beard Boost right now. This is out the back of the McLaren that Lowe runs. Lowe may be in a position to close in on his teammate Beard Boost and potentially get second here on track before Beard Boost even comes into pit. I wrap my charging cable around my foot. Okay. Danny has set the fastest lap time of the day with 1:13.248. So without a doubt, Danny has paced well far beyond what anyone else is turning here. Second. Closing in. This is really the only serious battle on the racetrack right now. Steele is continuing to run tires, some of the most heavily worn tires on the track. He is 6th right now, but the driver behind him, Wax, has 15 laps on soft, so Wax isn't really in a position to threaten Steele. Steele only has to lose time in comparison to the cars ahead. But right now, Lowe now is in a position that he can start utilizing DRS on his teammate Beard Boost to start closing in on that McLaren. The gap between first and second is now extended to about 15 seconds right now. We've had multiple virtual safety cars, but no full course safety car thus far in today's event. We've had 3 of them. Two of them. Hazel had a DNF, but no yellow flag at all was thrown for that incident. Young Maneuver had an incident where the car just seemed to die on him on the longest straight. we had a brief virtual safety car for that. That didn't really change anything because no one except for Kinsey Retro is in that position. And there's your battle for second completed. Lowe's gotten by Beard Boost with no issue. But Young Maneuver's instant came where the only driver who was able to take advantage of it and get a free stop was Kinsey Retro. So it didn't really affect the event. And then James Callan and Ollie were involved in the virtual safety car from a significant incident on the first lap in the second DRS straight. Second position. Now here's the thing, Beard Boost has DRS on his teammate for now, but I don't think he's going to be able to make anything happen. He's on 24 lap mediums, and Steele is going to be on what's going to be 25 lap mediums, so he is running the same set of tires since the very start of the race. Steele, quite honestly, could be looking at making this a one-stop race going medium to hards today. The ability is absolutely there. Is in fourth, and he is now in a position where he can start closing in on Beard Boost and break up McLaren show on the podium. Renault engines currently have the top 3 positions. All 3 McLaren cars who started this event in the top 3 positions. Very, very unexpected, but nice to see it regardless. Waddington pops open the DRS going down the straight now. He's going to use this to close even further on Beard Boost. Now, Beard Boost has DRS on low ahead, though. But it doesn't matter because he loses a bunch of time due to those wearing tires going through the World Championship. Again, both these drivers have DRS on the one ahead. But Beard Boost is losing time to low, and Waddington isn't losing time to Beard Boost. So I imagine Waddington is setting himself up to make this move happen in the next few laps. And there we are. Steele and Wax are now pitting. Steele has run those tires for 25 laps. He is now jumping off of them. Max is putting on sauce and Steele is putting on another set of mediums. Waddington's still within DRS range of Beard Boost, and Beard Boost still within DRS range of Low. To the straight. Again, DRS opens for both Beard Boost and Waddington. Beard Boost milking this DRS for all he's got, and by doing so, he's going to be able to artificially extend this tire run a lot longer than they normally would be able to, because he needs to be sure not to have an incident with Waddington behind him. It looks like the McLarens are actually a little bit faster in a straight line than the Haas's are set up to be right now. Waddington only has 5 lap more mediums. Beard Boost has now pushed 26 laps on his. Again, DRS opening on Beard Boost and Waddington. The gap between Waddington and Low is not extending quite as fast as we are expecting. So Waddington is being held up behind Beard Boost. And that's going to put a little bit more wear on those medium compound tires that Waddington is turning. Right now, the gap between first and second goes 17.3 seconds. Absolutely no one is catching Danny. He is in a league on his own today. This is the closest Waddington has gotten to the McLaren ahead. But Beard Boost seems to also be a little bit more confident with the McLaren going through the World Champion chicane. Almost hits the back of him. So while the battle for the race win seems to be a done deal, Danny is going to win this race unless he wrecks out or gets caught out by a poorly timed safety car. this is the interesting battle for second, third, fourth. Beard Boost has now lost it to Waddington. So Waddington now goes ahead of the McLaren or Beard Boost. And that means that those tires on the McLaren are now very badly worn. But that also means that Waddington might also be able to start putting pressure on low ahead. And if he can do that, it's a big if, but if he can do that, then Waddington might be able to drag that Haas up to second. Now the other question is this going to be the point where Beard Boost decides to go ahead and bring it into the pits? Because he's going to just continue to lose time to these guys, and his lap time is going to be brought even slower and slower because he will not be able to utilize the DRS. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He is going to bring it into the pits now. Waddington gets a time penalty on the run through the World Champion chicane. But he is now within DRS range of low ahead. Beard Boost is putting on soft tire compounds. So Waddington now focuses on low. It's within DRS range. That's Kinsey. Kinsey seems to be abnormally slow down the straight, and I wonder if there may be something wrong. No, he was just pulling over so as not to be an issue for those drivers. Respectful move. Beard Boost now has to deal with another Haas, and that's Pinkwo ahead. The difference, though, is now Pinkwo has worn mediums, and Beard Boost is on nice, fresh softs. So I imagine that battle will end very shortly. Waddington is now within DRS range of low, as closing in slowly on the McLaren down the straight. Again, the McLaren seem to be a little bit better through these chicanes, and that's been one of the big advantages for them against the Haas of Waddington, who's right behind him. Just a little bit further back. Beard Boost behind Pinkwo, trying to see if he can make something happen. Those are the two battles we're watching. The battle for second and the battle for fifth. Ooh, under braking, Waddington closes in really closely to the McLaren, and now he's going to utilize DRS as the closest he's been for a while. He might be able to pass him on this straightaway. He's right underneath the rear wing of that car. He looks to the outside, the block is thrown, and does not do anything yet. Loses just a little bit of time to Pinkwo that time around. He's, yes, outside of DRS range that time, interestingly enough. Meanwhile, coming onto the straightaway once more, the battle for second. Waddington right underneath the rear wing of low. He's got DRS. He's going to shoot to the inside. And now the situation is reversed because now the McLaren of low will have DRS on Waddington ahead. But Waddington was much, much quicker going through the chicane. So the benefit that low gets from DRS is kind of negated. Beard Boost is there behind Pinkwo. Gets another time penalty working on that Haas. Still behind him. Will he make him lunge into turn 2? That's going to be an interesting question. He's done it. He's made the lunge, and he's going to make it stick. And here's the other thing. Zola's just a little bit up the road. He might be able to start making moves on Zola if he can make this happen. Yes, he's made it happen. And now Zola needs to start being a little bit concerned because he is going to have a very, very fast McLaren on soft tires while Zola is on very worn mediums. The other thing to consider is that Pinkwo is still within DRS of Beard Boost, so he might be able to come up there and fight with Zola as well. And Pinkwo has better tires than Zola does. Beard Boost is there. He runs a little bit wider that time. Right on board with Pinkwo, as you can see the battle for 4th and 5th ahead. Neck and neck for the 4th spot. Beard Boost goes ahead of Zola. Pinkwo is going to have DRS on Zola and might, if he can get through the chicane nice and quickly, he might be able to get by their points leader. And there's a yellow flag in Sector 2. And Herbie has gone out. Oh, and it's just off the racing line as well. That's not a good position. Herbie has just been taken out of this race. Zola has lost lost a position in Pinko as well. One second. Gonna try and see if we can get word from Herbie as to what happened there. Oh, now we are down to only 10 drivers left on the race circuit, and all 10 drivers will earn points if they just stick around to the end of the event here. Herbie's been struggling putting power down this entire day, and it looks like it's finally got to him. It's the same place that he went into the wall on lap 1 to cause the incident behind him. Now he's the incident on his own. He is out of this race. Lowe has actually not really lost Waddington. In fact, Lowe has closed back in on Waddington just a little bit. So he's going to be able to stay and use DRS on the Haas ahead of him in order to maximize the length of his tires. The same thing Beard Boost did earlier. No one seems to want to be able to share what's happened to them in today's race. I don't know if it's just embarrassment or if they're not getting the invites, but we've not heard word from anyone on the incidents that have happened to them. Gaviscon and Ollie were involved in the incident on lap 1 on this straightaway that these cars are going right now. Young Maneuver just suddenly pulled off. It looked like the car shut off on the longest of the DRS straights. Hazel had an incident putting the power down coming out of the hairpin, hit the wall, bounced off of it, and then we put the power down again on the way and turned him right back into the wall and destroyed his car. And now Herbie, struggling with traction all day long, finally went into the wall and ended his day. So we are now down to 10 cars. No very active on-track battles. Lowe is stalking Waddington. But for right now, the ideal way to go for him would simply be to hang out behind the Haas in order to just extend the life of his tires. Again, there are pros and cons to running behind somebody at a speed-focused track with a lot of DRS zones like this. Your front tires are going to take a lot more wear in the high-speed corners, but your tires overall will be taking less wear because you're going to be going a lot faster and down the straights, and you're not going to be just putting all the wear on the tire. So there's going to be more. I shouldn't really focus on tire. I should just say, in a sense, it also makes your lap times faster artificially because you are going to be going faster with the DRS help down the straights. The sky has gotten really, really dark. This guy changed the way the cars handle this a bit. And Lowe is apparently wants to make an overtake, and Lowe is going to make the overtake on Waddington. I was not expecting that. But now Waddington's going to fight back, and they're going to be neck and neck, but Lowe still has DRS on the Haas. And it's going to go back to Lowe. But now he makes a mistake there coming around that rounded hairpin, and they're still side by side. Well, someone's gonna have to bow out here. Neither of them. They're still side by side, and it's the Haas that's back in front. So Lowe feels that he should be ahead of Waddington. It's a very interesting decision, to say the least. This is the most active battle on the circuit right now. Everyone else has gaps of 2 seconds or more around them. And of note, Danny and Hurricane are the only 2 drivers who do not have time penalties against them right now. Real quickly, as you look at the time penalties, Wax and Seal, not in a great position, but they're not in a position to lose. They're not in a great position in terms of number of penalties, but as long as they don't pass 28 seconds in these full-length races, they'll be in a fine position, and they're not close to that yet. So Wax and Seal should be able to run to the end of the race, and they're not going to lose their positions to Kinsey behind them right now. So it's been a show of Haas versus McLaren from 2nd down to 5th. And also of note, Ryan Hurricane, despite the fact that he's been slower and behind Zola most of the day, he has no time penalties. Zola has 9 seconds for it. So right now, Hurricane would actually finish ahead of Zola, and that would make the points battle all the more tighter for the Drivers' Championship. Lowe actually seems to be losing ground to Waddington now. So I wonder if Lowe's tires have gone through a significant stage to where he's no longer able to keep up with the Haas through the corners. He has lost DRS by the look. Yes, he has now lost DRS on the Haas ahead of him. For all intents and purposes, he is now running a race all by himself, and his teammate Beard Boost is behind him on soft tires, but those soft tires are already at or just past their peak. Now here's the other thing, Ryan Hurricane, he's run 20 laps, and going to make it 21 laps on these soft tire compounds. So he's trying to milk this for all that it's worth. The thing is, Ryan Hurricane is going to artificially have to utilize an extra stop because of incidents that happened earlier in today's event. But he's not at risk right now of losing time to Wax unless Hurricane stops, and he will have to stop eventually. And Zola is on 26 lap mediums ahead, so Zola and Hurricane are going to have to pit at relatively similar times right now. So this is kind of a slow thing, but Hurricane might be able to do a slow burn and overtake Zola on track. That will move the points battle in his favor. A bit of a hiccup from Waddington coming onto the start-finish line straight. It's brought Lowe a little bit closer. But again, the tires, I think, have gone through a stage for Lowe to where he's no longer able to manually keep that car within DRS range of Waddington. So it's not going to help him too much. Lowe's going to have DRS on Waddington. This straight, though, at least. It's not much, but it's a little bit. It helps him with extending the life of those tires. But as this is going on, Waddington is falling off the pace as well, and Beard Boost is actually closing in on second and third. So all three of these drivers are going to catch each other with very, very worn tires. Beard Boost will be in a slightly better position, I think, than both of them. They're all going to catch each other at very, very similar time. With very worn tires on a track where being able to maximize traction is extremely, extremely important. Beard Boost isn't within DRS range of these two yet, but he will be, and he will be there very shortly. Lowe is back within DRS range of Waddington, because I think Waddington also now has gone through a stage where he has lost time. And also note, the gap between Danny and Waddington continues to widen slowly but surely. Danny is 23.6 seconds ahead of Waddington. Right now, we're looking at a position where Danny might be able to get a free pit stop late in the event if this pace keeps on like it has been. I think Lowe is not going to have DRS on Waddington onto the straight this time, though. Beard Boost, though, will have DRS on his teammate, I imagine. Nope, not yet. Lowe has DRS on Waddington coming onto the start-finish line straight, though. So he's able to artificially... Well, he had DRS, but he didn't activate it. So now I'm starting to wonder if there may be something wrong with the DRS, because that's 2 laps now, where he should have been able to utilize DRS on the main straight, but he did not. Beard Boost is closing in on his teammate. But again, Beard Boost, his softs are now coming over the peak, and they're going to start wearing away from him now. So the battle is between second and fourth. That is the only seriously interesting battle on the circuit. There is another one of Ryan Hurricane very slowly closing in on Zola. And doing so without track violations. But until those two drivers pit, we don't know how that's actually going to go. This is it. Beard Boost will have DRS on his teammate Low this time by. Not able to close in though, did not have a good run coming onto the straight. Again, Low within DRS range of Warrington but refuses to utilize DRS. Now has a time penalty for track violations. That's not going to help him, but he's there behind Low right now. A little bit of contact out when he turns low, and now they both jump out of the throttle. That's going to help Warrington a bit because that means he's going to be able to extend his gap over the drivers behind. Beard utilizes DRS on Low now, going through the straight, but yeah, that got a little bit tight. I honestly thought we were going to see Low's race come to an end there. McLaren teammates now at it. Going into this nice rounded hairpin. As Kinsey Retro pulling over so as not to be an issue regarding Zola or Hurricane. Beard Boost on the inside. He has DRS. Low's not even going to fight with him. He's just going to fall right in line behind his teammate. And Waddington is going to take the lead because Danny has made his pit stop. And Danny has jumped onto medium tire compounds. And he's actually fallen all the way to 4th. God, that's a long ways to fall. And he's going to be right behind the McLarens of Low and Beard Boost. And he's going to have DRS on both of them. He's going to be way faster than them both. But he's going to have to be clever and smart when he makes these moves. So for first time today, Danny is actually going to have to fight for on-track positions for a bit of time. Gonna make a move at the end of the straight? No, he's gonna hold back just a little bit. Low very nearly goes into the wall there, putting the power down. Danny dives to the inside, neck and neck. This is for a 3rd position, and Danny easily takes that spot back. Now the thing is, who had DRS on who in the detection zone? And the answer was Danny had DRS on Low, but he's already completed that. So now Danny can start immediately focusing on Beard Boost ahead. Now Low will have DRS on the Renault going on to the start-finish line straight. Beard Boost is pitted. And Beard Boost only had 13 laps on his softs. He could have gone a little bit longer, but he chose not to. That's a very interesting decision. It's already on the way out of pit lane though. And Zola and Ryan Hurricane continue to run extremely long on the tires that they've been on for quite some time. Zola 32 laps on mediums and Hurricane 27 laps on softs. And Hurricane is still closing on Zola and still opening the gap on wax. Actually is coming to the point that he might be able to overtake Zola on track before these two pit. He's coming very close to being within DRS range at the least. Also, Beard Boost is now behind Pinkwo, and Pinkwo is actually closing in slowly on Low ahead. The thing is, Pinkwo is on 23 lap work medium, so he will have to pit soon also, as will Low. And Low is coming into the pit lane right now. Pinkwo's going to stay out another few laps, though. Danny also has gotten a track violation somewhere around here. I didn't see where it happened, but he now has a track violation. Ryan Hurricane does not, so Ryan Hurricane setting himself up to be in a very good position. He's going to have DRS. Oh, and Zola's pitted. Zola's pitted, but Hurricane's was right there behind him, so he will have DRS on the main straight. He doesn't use it. Ryan Hurricane 28 laps on soft tires and caught Zola. Zola is making his stop right now. They're putting on a new front wing on the car as well. He is back underway now. Steele, though, is likely going to overtake Zola. Yeah, so Steele is now going to be ahead of Zola for just a bit of time. But Steele is on 18-lap mediums. And we anticipate Ryan Hurricane and Wax behind to both pit and put on mediums sometime in the next few laps here. We are more than halfway through this event. Most of the actual on-track battles have pretty much dissipated and fallen away, although Danny is working hard to make something happen. Penko is pitted out of third, so now Beard Moose goes back up into the third position. Lowe goes back up in the fourth. Right now, Danny is closing in on Waddington. Danny on fresh mediums, Waddington on very heavily worn ones. So this battle is easily going to go in the favor of Danny, who has led most of the laps in this race thus far and has been the fastest driver on the track by far today. Around the hairpin, Danny will utilize DRS, I imagine, to sneak by Waddington without issue here. There he is. He comes on the inside. I guess outside, depending on how you look at it, but he will position that Renault ahead of the Haas firmly. And he still had DRS over the Haas, so he's actually going to extend his gap. Hurricane. Will he come in and pit this lap or not? That's going to be the question. That's going to be on his mind and Zola's mind. Gap between himself and Zola will close drastically if he goes ahead and pits. He's staying out another lap, and he's on soft tire compounds, and yet continues to run respectable lap times, although he is dropping off in pace, though. But he's still running respectable lap times. Wax, also on softs, is going to run another lap as well. Zola has just gotten by Steele utilizing DRS, but now Steele will have DRS on Zola coming onto the start-finish line straight. However, Zola much smoother coming onto it. That was going to go in his favor. I'm still shocked at what Ryan Hurricane is doing here. 30 laps on soft tire compounds is honestly a scary thing to consider, and his times haven't dropped off significantly. If he ends up in a battle late, tires might not be an issue for him. When he does make a stop, because we're looking at 23 laps to go right now, he could probably jump in, throw on another set of softs, and make those softs last to the end of this race, if he so chooses. Wax is putting himself up in a similar position. Both Hurricane and Wax could put on softs and run the softs to the end of the race. We know that Waddington, Steele, and Kinsey will all have to pit one more time because their mediums are extremely warm. Danny and Beard Boost and Lowe are all likely to walk out here with podium positions because they are relatively fresh mediums that, while they'll be hurting near the end of the race, should still be able to bring them to the end. Same with Zola. Zola should not have to pit again in today's event. Hurricane and Wax both go another lap on their softs. Right now, the fastest lap of the day is actually from Wax, apparently. There's a yellow flag in Sector 1. That is for Kinsey Retro, enough to let Ryan Hurricane by without holding him up. We're not seeing very many fast laps right now because a lot of drivers are either nursing very worn tires or are on mediums, and they're just trying to pace themselves to the end. We'll see probably some of the faster times late in the event. But right now, Wax would get the point for fastest lap of the race. And now there we are. Penquil now has the fastest lap, 1:12.238. Here we we are. We've changed it to where we can see the gap between drivers and the leaders. Can't see another time penalty. And there we are. Wax is finally coming into the pits. Hurricane is in the pits as well. Hurricane has put on another set of softs, and he just has to make those last another 22 laps. What is Wax going to do? It's the same thing. They're going on to another set of softs in that team. Very quick stop by both of those drivers. Now here's the thing though, Hurricane is back behind Zola, but not massively behind him. He's going to be right within DRS range of him. And Hurricane has softs, Zola has slightly more mediums, so for now these two drivers will be evenly matched. And Hurricane has no penalties, Zola has time penalties. So right now, if nothing goes wrong, this battle will go in the favor of Hurricane. He might walk out here ahead of Zola in positions and will take the points lead, or at least tie Zola in the points lead. In a similar position, Wax is now in the position to start running down Steel, and if everything works out, he might be able to make something happen to Zola or Hurricane if something happens to them. Waddington is in the frustrating position where he needs to make these mediums last as long as he feels comfortable so he can throw on softs at the end and just charge through the field. Because when he pits, he's going to fall to 4th, maybe even 5th, and he's going to have to get onto the softs so he can charge up to the field as fast as he can and make up as many positions as possible. Kenzie Retro's in the pits right now, and he's putting on softs that he will attempt to make last to the end of the race. And Steel is still on mediums that he also will have to pit for sooner rather than later. Waddington is going to make another lap on his tires. The battle between Hurricane and Zola, though, is alive and kicking. Hurricane has DRS on the Tracy point ahead of him. Overtaken Steel already, and Hurricane is there behind Zola, looking to make a move going into 2. A little bit of an issue putting the throttle down. They're going to be side by side, but Zola is going to back out of it, so now Hurricane moves up ahead, and Wax just set the fastest lap of the day back there. So now the question is going to be, how far away from Zola can Hurricane get before his softs start falling off, and the advantage when it comes to tire life goes back in Zola's favor. And the other question is still, when will Waddington come and make his pit stop to get onto softs that he will run to the end of the race? Retro has wrecked! And Kenzie has wrecked! On the straightaway, there's a virtual safety car, but there are no drivers who are by pit lane, so I don't think that's actually going to affect the race too much, assuming the game doesn't decide to randomly give penalties to somebody. But Kenzie involved in another accident in the same part of the track that he crashed at earlier. No front wing on that Red Bull right now. We're still under a virtual safety car. No one is assigned to pit. We're still under the virtual safety car. Waddington might be able to utilize this. If he can get into the pits now, this would be the best time for him. It would minimize the loss. He stays out another lap instead, though. And we are back under green already. Beard Boost is currently ahead of Lowe. Penko is a little bit behind them both, but he is too far out to directly challenge either of them. The rest of the battle is Ryan, Hurricane, and Zola. This is the only other serious battle on the track. The real question is just going to be, when will Waddington make his pit stop and throw on the softs that we anticipate he will throw on and run the rest of the race with. Zola is still within DRS range of Hurricane and is keeping him right within the Ferrari's grasp, and that's making it really hard for Hurricane to open up the gap on the tracing point. Frankly, Hurricane needs to open up as much of a gap as he can, so that way Zola has less time to fight him once the soft tires on that Ferrari do go away. Well, Waddington picked this lap. He's gone 30 laps on his mediums. No, he does not. Stay on another lap, but he just gets a time penalty for track violations. Farther back, this battle continues. Zola is just using Hurricane and stalking him right now, knowing that the battle will eventually go back in his favor. Low, trying to close in on his teammate, roughly 1.8 seconds between himself and Beard Boost ahead. Zola nearly into the wall there. But you can't say Zola's not pushing to keep up with Ryan right now. This is the battle for the points lead in the Drivers' Championship. 17 laps to go right now. We're still waiting on Waddington to make what will be his final stop of this event. When he makes that stop, we are curious to see where he pulls out onto the track in regard to everyone else. Here he is. The stop has been made. Seal is making his final stop as well and jumping onto softs. Waddington, we anticipate, will come. And Beard Boost is coming to the pits, but he gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in pit lane. And that's going to hurt his day significantly. Low now goes up to second. So Waddington and Beard Boost will both be on soft tire compounds to the end of the race. Beard Boost is putting on slightly worn softs as well. Mackenzie Retro just put the fastest lap time down. Waddington is fourth. He is 7 seconds out, roughly 7 seconds out from his teammate Pinkwood, who is on moderately worn medium tires. He is 11 seconds out, roughly, from Low, who is on similar tires. So Waddington needs to see if he can run down his teammate Pinkwood and the McLaren of Low, and he has 16 laps to do it. Beard Boost has to do the same thing, but he's on slightly more worn softs and has a much bigger gap to them in terms of on-track time and in penalty times. Meanwhile, Ryan Hurricane has finally broken away from Zola. Really quickly, Beard Boost, 17 seconds worth of time penalties. That's not looking good for him. If things do not work out for Beard Boost, he might lose fifth to Ryan Hurricane even. And Zola has 12 seconds worth of penalties right now. Zola, however, has the same or less penalties than everyone behind him, so Zola is likely to still finish 7th, assuming he still finishes the race and nothing crazy happens here. In fact, right now, it's not looking like time penalties will affect anything unless Beard Boost loses a bunch of time to Ryan Hurricane to the end of this race. There you are, indeed, no one was able to make the one-stop strategy work. Everyone has made at least 2 stops. Beard Boost, another time penalty. And now it's 20 seconds for Beard Boost. That means that Ryan Hurricane is within range of overtaking Beard Boost at the end of this race if Ryan Hurricane continues not gaining penalties. Of note, Beard Boost has made 4 stops today, though. Mackenzie, another 3-second time penalty against him. That's not going to help him. Also of note, Wax does have a threat of potentially going a lap down. Where is there's Tyre. Here's your fastest lap of the day. Kinsey Retro thus far set the fastest with a 1:11.635. And he threw on soft shortly after wrecking the second time. However, Wax and Waddington have comparable lap times both within the 1:11s, and the lap times will continue to fall bit by bit as we get closer to the end. Here's the interesting part. Steele is fighting to stay ahead of what looks to be low here. He's running soft tires on that Mercedes and is utilizing that to try and stay ahead. He wants to be as close to being on the lead lap as possible. And if something happens to Wax, Steele would be the beneficiary of it. A little bit of a hiccup there means that he's going to lose that on-track position, and McLaren ahead will fall back behind. Kinsey Retro has been a very, very rough day. He got second last week, but today it looks like it's going to be dead last for him, but he is still in position to finish this race and will get points for that at least. Steele is currently 9th, a lap down. And him, along with Retro, are kind of caught in no man's land. Wax is in a position where if something happens to Zola, he can capitalize, and the gap between Wax and Zola is only about 5 seconds right now. Zola is on moderately worn mediums, Wax is on softs. Both of them are going to have to drag those tires to the end of this race, but there is a chance, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there is a chance that Wax might be able to get by Zola on penalty countback by the end of the race if Zola doesn't open up a big enough gap on him. Zola is coming into the pits, and Zola is bringing it into the pits right now, and he's going to plummet through the order because of that. Now, I imagine they're going to throw on some soft tire compounds to get him to the end of the race, and that's exactly what they're doing. Oh, and Wax came into the pits as well. And Wax had wind damage. Wax got wind damage somewhere around there. I did not see where it was. But now Steele might be able to capitalize and try and close in on Wax, or maybe even Zola. Well, not Zola. Zola's already gone. But he might be able to close in a bit on Wax. Steele has the Haas of Pinkwo behind him, and he's still faster than Pinkwo right now. The gap between Pinkwo and Waddington is about 3.2 seconds. Actually, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. It's like 2.8 seconds or so. Meanwhile, Zola has gone a lap down officially. That's going to be the biggest takeaway. And Ryan Hurricane is positioning himself to walk out here with the points lead. And might still walk out here without any penalties. We're at 10 laps to go right now, and he is definitely making that a possibility. 20.3 seconds is the gap between first and second right now, and there is no evidence that that gap will close at any point in this event. We're also now interested in entering a scenario where Waddington might be able to get DRS off of the Mercedes of Steele ahead, and when he does that, it will enable him to close in even faster to Pinko ahead. The thing is, Waddington needs to make those softs last to the end of the race. They're just about to hit their peak. Zola, fastest lap, 111.007. So we may still see times in the 110s by the end of this event. Gap between third and fourth, less than 2 seconds right now. Everyone outside of the top 3 is on soft tires. And on fresher tires as well than the top 3. Oh, and Wax has crashed! Wax has had an accident! And he's right in the middle of the racetrack! And look at that beer boost! And that's Low, I'm sorry, Low barely is able to make it through. And there's still a yellow flag there. Wax needs to get going sooner rather than later. He has gotten going, finally. But Wax, who was putting himself in a halfway decent position, has now had an incident. And now he's going to drop off, so Wax is basically locked into a 9th place position now. And realistically has no way of finishing higher than that. In fact, he might run the risk of going a lap down, of not going a lap down, but losing most of the lap that he has over Kinsey Retro. So Wax, who has been one of the fastest drivers today in terms of single lap pace, has had another incident. And it looks like it's going to lock him into 9th. Kinsey is coming into pit. Kinsey seems to be wanting really badly to get the fastest lap point. So to try and keep Wax from getting it, he's coming in and putting on another set of soft tires so he gets another chance at it. Oh, he's also replacing wing damage. So there's wing damage that Kinsey somehow got on that car as well. Meanwhile, Pinko closing in on XRRL Low in these closing laps. He's not within DRS range yet, but he is closing on the McLaren, and closing at a very respectable rate. And if these two fight and hold each other up enough, it will bring Waddington into the play. Gap's hanging at just over a second between these two. They just got another 3-second time penalty. I think that's only a second of the entire day. Driver trying desperately to make something happen against the McLaren ahead. He's within 3/4 of a second right now, so he will have DRS coming onto the straight. Waddington has actually dropped off his teammate just a little bit. Oh, and Wax is knocked out of the event now, and that's a virtual safety car. And Wax is right there in the middle of the racetrack as well. That's not going to bode well for him. Kinsey needs to be a little bit careful. But this also means that Kinsey will take home 9th now, as Wax has been knocked out of the event. we're back underway. Virtual safety car is gone. Now there are only 9 cars left. Pinkwell utilizing DRS to try and close in on low. That is the battle for second. The only serious battle active on track right now also. Low has a little bit of a lockup in the hairpin. Now coming onto the straight. No word from Wax as to what happened. Pinkwell now consistently within a second of low ahead. Beard Boost, another time penalty. And this means now that he is at risk of losing 5th to Ryan Hurricane because Hurricane has no time penalties. Pinko is going to be there if he maximizes exit out of this hairpin. There'll be 6 laps to go at the not 6 laps to go, I'm sorry, 4 laps to go at the line. Yep, Danny's already across the line, so it's 4 laps to go. Pinko's right there, but not made the move yet. McLaren did not have a better run that time. So the Haas is there. Oh, the Haas gets knocked and just pushed into the grass there. I don't think he's going to be very happy about that. But he's there. The battle is very much on now. And Waddington, if they have another incident like that, Waddington is going to be right there, ready to capitalize. Gap opening up just a bit between Lowe and Pinkwell at that time. Pinkwell stepping back, reassessing everything, and then going at it again. Waddington is going to be on softs, but they're going to be worn softs. But the medium tires that Lowe and Pinkwell have are going to be going to be very worn also. I don't know if I should say even more worn, but definitely very worn as well. DRS is going to be a huge factor in this battle to the end. Once again, Pinkwell is there right behind Lowe. Looks to the inside this time. Lowe can't push him into the grass here, hopefully. Neck and neck for the position. A little bit of contact. And Lowe's going to hold it again, but that's twice now. That contact has kept the McLaren ahead. Pinkwell is going to be very upset about it. Waddington is going to be jumping for joy because he's going to have a chance at this now. Neck and neck ahead. Pinkwell is just squeezed by Lowe. Oh, but he makes a mistake under braking, and now Lowe's going to fight back, and now Lowe has DRS on Pinkwell, and Waddington has DRS on both of them. So a 3-way fight for the bottom 2 steps on the podium. It's been a very long race, a lot of incidents, and we've seen the field get very spread out, but now they're all together here for 2nd and 3rd and 4th at this race's end. Pinkwell makes a little mistake on braking. Lowe did not have a good mid-corner. Now onto the straight. Lowe trying to make something happen here. Ooh, the Haas ahead just straight lines it through there. I'm shocked that didn't end up with a penalty. Here comes Lowe. He looks to the outside. Pinkwell gives him a little bit more respect than Lowe gave Pinkwell earlier. Lowe muscles Pinkwell right off the racing line. That's 3 times now that Lowe has made contact with Pinkwell. He is not going to be happy with this. Waddington is right there. He's in the position now to make something happen against his teammate. will struggle to put the power down coming onto the straightaway. Washington has DRS on Pinkwell, but not enough to make a move. Low, Pinkwell, both make mistakes through there. And Pinkwell's going to have to sacrifice the position to Waddington. But Pinko's going to fight back through the hairpin, and now he's going to have DRS on Waddington. Waddington needs to utilize DRS to close in on low. He needs to get up to low immediately if he wants to make this happen. He's closing the gap on the McLaren. Extremely aggressive defense from low has put him back in the second position. This is the last lap of the race. Is there anything Waddington can do to low before this race is over? Does not look like it. Low has actually extended the gap over Waddington just a bit here. You can hear the DRS engaging once more for Waddington, but he needs to be a lot closer to low than this. Meanwhile, at the front, Danny JJ02 started from the poles, led most of the laps today, and he's going to cruise home to an easy victory here at Montreal. This is the battle, though, that everyone's looking, and Waddington puts the power down and nearly spins out coming onto the straight. Pinkwell was too far back to make anything happen to low, so low, unless the penalty countback works against him, is going to make this happen. Penalty countback will work against low. Pinkwell's going to take home second. Low gets a time penalty going across the very last corner. So Pinkwell will take home second. Low is going to fall to fourth as Waddington gets third. Beard Boost is going to cross the line in fifth. Now he is way ahead of Hurricane, but not far enough, I don't think. So Low will come home seventh and steal eighth. So as long as Hurricane doesn't mess up these last two quarters, he's going to not only finish with no penalties, but he's going to take home fifth against penalty countback against Beard Boost. And that's exactly what happens. Incredible job. Hopefully I'll be able to talk to Danny and hear what he has to say about this race. But there is your race winner, taking home a dominant win here at Montreal. All right, in the party here we have Danny JJ02. Danny, a dominant victory here. What do you have to say? A big margin indeed. The end time is said to be 25 seconds over second position. And a dominant win from the pole position. Once again, just want to say congratulations, mate. Alright, well anyways, that's the word from your race winner, Danny, and we can anticipate some interesting shakeup in the points. The most interesting one I'm looking forward to myself is going to be Ryan Hurricane, the Ferrari, taking the top of the driver's points, exiting this race after Zola did not have a good finish here today. That could be a very, very interesting development as they go forward. Anyways, tomorrow on this same channel at 5 p.m. UK time will be X1, hosted by Kenzie Retro. And then about 3 hours after that, 8 p.m. UK time, will be the X2 event. At the same time as X1 event on the alternate channel, I'll be bringing, hopefully it will be me, there may be things that keep me from doing it, but hopefully I'll be bringing you guys the X3 race, and the X1, X2, and X3 races will all be at Canada. The field will be a lot closer in those events. I highly toaster, highly recommend you guys check them out if you get the chance. But today, our full-length race has now come to a close, and I just want to say very quickly here, it was a very, very enjoyable race. It definitely had a lot of lawn pauses where there wasn't a lot of on-track action, but there was a lot of strategy going on that we saw brought drivers together throughout the event, and that was a wonderful thing to see here. But anyways, it is time to close out today's event. I've been St. Lear 13, and once more, I just want to say congratulations to everyone who participated in today's event, and thank you to XRRL for letting me do the broadcasting for today's event. We look forward to seeing you in 1 week's time for the realistic racing lane races, and tomorrow for X1, X2, and X3.